Prepare for a fusion of knowledge and exhilaration where education and excitement collide.
Taking you on an adventure that expands your mind and speaks to your spirit.
I'm Master Nick.
I'm Lady D.
We are the Dom Life.
This podcast contains sexually explicit topics and adult content.
It is intended for listeners 18 and older.
The opinions expressed in this podcast are ours alone, based on our personal thoughts, feelings, and experiences.
We understand that others may have different opinions and experiences, and we respect that. We would love to hear from you. You can reach out to us at www.thedomlife.com.
Let's get back to your DS relationship.
Yes.
Relationships.
That's where I was going.
Yeah.
Too bad I got there first.
Okay.
Go ahead and ask your question then.
So I'm curious. So we've heard a lot about you starting out. Obviously, you love impact. You love mind control. What kind of what type of dom would you consider yourself?
Well, if I had to classify it,
Which sucks, I know.
yeah, because I defy convention. I really do.
Right.
I do my own thing. I have my own way about me. But
I love that.
I fall under the, in air quotes, soft dom category.
All right.
My goal is not how much pain I can inflict. That's not my thing.
Right.
Pain is a tool in the toolbox.
Okay.
Okay. I don't play. Some people need it.
Yes.
Yes.
Some people are excited by it.
Right.
Some people get excited by receiving it and excited by giving it.
Yes.
Okay.
But for me, it's lighting my partner's nerve endings on fire. Turning them on and ratcheting up that tension over a number of days, even. I remember I was talking to A once, and she and I had been building up. We'd had a date night earlier in the week, but we were going to play at the club on a Saturday night. And boy, we were itching. Boy, we were ready to rock and roll.
Right.
We were ready to tear each other's skin off to get to each other.
Know how that goes.
And so we're there, and I'd been just talking these nasty things to her all week.
Right. Building it up.
And I was like, don't you dare come. Not until you see me on Saturday.
I'm not allowed to unless I ask.
Yep.
So, well, this is before we got too formal into the relationship.
Right.
Right.
And she's like, when are you going to fuck me? And I grabbed a hold of her hair, I made her open her eyes, I made her look at me, and it's like, honey, I've been fucking you for 4 days.
Right. So the
Just
mind-
haven't let you come.
Right.
Exactly. But that's, you know, I'm a daddy as well. I have that daddy energy that I like. I'm nurturing. I'm really supportive emotionally. I'm really big into finding out what that particular person is craving,
Right.
and then just playing in that playground.
Right.
So if I had to classify it, I'm a soft daddy dom type who has a lot of tools in his toolbox.
Right. Well, you got to throw pleasure dom in there as well.
Oh yeah,
because
big
that's-
time pleasure dom. Because
So you're
and the tickle scene
Right.
was about that. Yeah.
So you're a soft pleasure, sensual, because you do sensations with the hot and cold. So you've got a lot.
You've got a lot of
You've got
hats.
a lot of hats.
Once
check
you
a
put
lot of
that
boxes.
Once you put that top hat on, now you got a lot of them.
Which also I completely understand. I consider myself more of a pleasure dom because I enjoy it all.
He's not a big daddy dom.
I'm not. Parts of it intrigue me, and I like just little tidbits of it. But to say that I'm a daddy dom, I don't know. I don't have the energy
Well,
for all of that.
a lot of people, when you say daddy dom, they're into the dominant daddy, little girl type
Right.
energy thing.
Right.
But, age regression and that sort of thing really doesn't do much for me.
Right. See, and that's where I'm the same way.
I like my partners to be
You said.
adult.
But not only
Right.
that, you want other men to be scared of your...
I like powerful women.
Right.
What is, to me, and you can relate to this, I like my subs to be strong
Yes.
and accomplished
Yep.
and confident and comfortable and healthy.
Absolutely.
Healthy is a big one, and I don't think we use that word enough in relation to kink relationships.
Yes.
And it's like you want your partner to be healthy.
Right.
Yes.
That makes sense.
In more ways than one. I mean,
Yeah, both physically and mentally.
Yes.
I want that. If you're struggling, hey, I'm going to be here to help you through that.
right.
I'm going to support you through it.
Right.
You're going to do the hard work, yes, but I'm going to be there to help you when you feel like you can't keep going. Be like, you know what, I
You're going to
support you.
shore this up.
You've
That's
got
what you
this.
do.
I believe in you. You've got this energy. You have the spoons to do it.
He's my oak. I say he's like an oak tree. Master Nick doesn't do massive reactions to things. He tends to stay steady paced on things, and I need that because I could be all over the boards sometimes.
You need an even keel.
And that's what he does for me is he keeps himself at that level.
Yeah.
So your DS relationships, have you had any contracts?
We've not delved into contracts or formal rules
Okay.
so much with A. We're still in the process of discussing that. What would rules for her look like?
Right.
Are there tasks?
There are some.
Okay.
Drinking water, good morning and good night.
Yes. I write him a letter every day. I missed one.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting for that one. I mean, he's been sick, so so it's been a delayed punishment on this one.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so those kind of
daily,
general.
Those are daily tasks as well, right?
Yes, there are daily
make
tasks.
sure you drink your water. You get your good morning, good night texts or emails or phone calls or something.
Now, as you delve into it with S, and she's kind of becoming the primary, are you discussing that as well with her? Or is because you said she came from the protocol. So I think of protocol and I think of the collars that the stiffer.
She'd probably like that.
Yeah. Just my head goes to the more like on your knees, you submit more, your personality is more of the give and take of energy because she's wanting the protocols, the rules, the structure, this is what,
that word right there you used, structure.
Yep.
That's the key to it with her is she thrives in structure.
For structure. She wants it spelled out and laid out.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yes.
You might need to have a talk with Dante and his like epic contract.
Yeah. He's got a very well structured.
There's a phrase that what you see is what you get.
Yep.
Okay. So you've got with her, there's the structure of what you see is what you get with S.
Okay.
She's got you can say it. You can say I want X, Y, and Z. We're gonna do X, Y, and Z. I believe in X, Y, and Z, but I'm saying it. No, you've got to get down there into the trenches and you've got to say, okay, we're going to schedule this. We're going to do this on this day. Our date night is on Tuesday. What are we going to do? I'm going to come over from work and we're going to have dinner. And then after dinner, we're going to talk. And then after we talk, we're going to go to bed.
Okay.
Right.
So do you do like, I'm coming to dinner and I expect you to have A, B, and C done and ready for when I arrive? Is that the kind of person that she is when it comes to DS?
It's moving in that direction.
Okay.
But we're taking it step by step. I'm a methodical person.
Right.
Okay. We're going to see if this works. And if it works, then we're going to add to it.
Right.
Okay.
It's a leadership mentality. There's oh God, I'm going to get real egg-headed here for a second. During the Second World War,
Master Nick loves this kind of stuff.
I do.
have you ever heard of the Eisenhower decision-making matrix?
No.
Okay, so Dwight Eisenhower, when he was trying to figure out how to invade Germany, came up with a decision-making matrix. You've got tasks that are urgent and tasks that are important and tasks that are not urgent and tasks that are not important.
Okay.
Okay?
Maybe I have heard about this then.
Right. Okay. So I'm methodical. Which tasks, which elements, how are we going to improve things?
Right.
Okay. What do we have that's important? What do we have that's urgent? What do we have that's not important? What do we have that's not urgent?
Right.
What can we put on the back burner? What can we talk about later? If she is in a space where I need to pay attention to her, that is urgent and important.
Correct.
And I've got to go give that reassurance or attention or physical time or those things. That's going to be in that box.
Right.
And then over here we have urgent but not important.
Right.
Okay? It's just figuring out how to apply the right kind of structure that she's going to need for the reassurance that she needs. Because she has relationship history and things like that for things that existed before I came into her life. And we're moving her into a more healthy, more comfortable, more loving,
Dynamic.
right.
Gotcha.
That's going to be worked into what we have. She's a really 1950s aesthetic, in the home kind of person.
Okay.
While at the same time operating in a modern world where
Right.
you've got the constraints of having to have a job
Yep.
Right.
and being able to make ends meet for people in your life. And you have those life constraints. But in her heart of hearts, she wants the pleated skirts and the woman takes care of the man aesthetic.
Right.
Right.
That's because that's how she expresses her care for her partners.
Right.
So we're integrating those two things, and me as a pleasure dom, daddy dom, sensual dom, really works with that for her.
I could see
Okay.
that. I could see that.
It's not this. It's not, my style is really not what she's used to, because she was used to these monolithic types that were very separated from emotionally. I feel like this is my perception. Very separated emotionally. They got to where they wanted to go in scenes and parts of the dynamic, but they didn't treat it as a journey that they both took together.
Right.
This is a journey that she and I are both going in hand.
Yep.
And that's different.
That's us.
Which is how it should be.
Right.
It should be. If I'm only doing stuff to get my rocks off, and I'm not taking care of my submissive or meeting their needs or any of that.
Well,
then
it's also about the development. I think he's talking about the development as well.
Right.
Like,
But again,
I agree with your first statement about, if it's just about you getting your rocks off, you being the dom that you want to be versus the dom that she needs. And
Right.
that's where we fail. That's where I see failure ahead of time. Because same discussion happened with Dante and Zora. Okay. Zora is a masochist. She
Yeah.
needs pain in order to feel pleasure, and it's very tied up with her.
And so is S.
And Dante was not that kind of a dom, never even crossed his head to be that kind of a dom, but now Zora has opened up his world, and they work together to satisfy her and him. And that's the way it is. And I think that what happens with, and we were calling them baby doms. These doms come in here thinking that they're dominant, and you're not dominant. You're just a dick. You're a dick.
Me, dom, you sub.
Right.
Exactly.
And you're just supposed to be happy because I'm the dominating dom.
Right.
Dom. No, that's not how it works.
Ixnay hombre. That is, I'll go back to one of the first things I read that really influenced my philosophy.
Yay.
It's a comment. I can't even remember where I read it. It was a person talking about the nature of domination. And it works like this. The first person that a dominant has to dominate is themselves.
Okay. Totally get it.
Okay? You have to have control. And you're not eliminating your feelings. You're not eliminating your thoughts. You're having to get to know them.
Right.
You have to get to know yourself.
Yes.
So, there's a lot of people in this world that try to push your buttons and provoke an emotional response. They try to mess with you. They're trying to make up for their own lack of feelings of self-control, their own lack of agency in their lives,
Right.
by trying to provoke responses in other people.
Right.
So they're trying to fill that gap in themselves. If you go through and you take the time to really get to know yourself, become a friend to yourself, get to understand what triggers you or pushes you in a particular direction, you can look at that and you can learn from it and gain strength from it.
Yes.
And I don't demand power placed in my hands. I
Right.
don't. I hold my hand out and it's placed into my hands.
Right.
Okay?
Yep.
And I provide an environment for my ladies in which they know the power that they grant me is going to be held in esteem and regard
Yes.
and reverence. They will be held in reverence.
Right.
Okay? I love both of them. They're great women. They're the types of women that they don't see this in themselves, and they may, when they listen to this, kind of get that squiggly feeling in their guts when I talk about this. They have been through so much, and they are so strong, and they are so powerful, and they have learned so much and come so far that I am proud of them.
Right.
Yeah.
I could not be prouder of both of them, and for different reasons, but they are wonderful people.
Right.
Sort of went off on a tangent.
So that's
No,
your
that was
your dominance, right? So this is in the back of your world. You're not judging them as weaker or lesser. You're saying you are strong and powerful, and you're giving me this, and
Yes.
that's one of the things you said. To be a dominant, you have to dominate yourself first. Well,
And I like that.
again, you cannot come into any scene angry. You can't. If you're angry, then that scene should not occur. Correct. You cannot enact a punishment because you're angry. It is, if you're doing a punishment, it should be because they misbehaved, you're correcting it, and you're doing it in a way that's calm and controlled and agreed upon.
Clear-headed.
Clear-headed. But like he said, the self-control.
Right.
I can see times where a punishment where I can be angry, but not take that anger and use it against you.
Right.
I could be angry and come up with a punishment through my self-control that is suiting for what made me angry, but not using my anger for the punishment.
Right. So, Bear, you took us into a very emotional area. I could tell, like, that was a lot. So, do you do punishments?
Oh, yeah. We have punishments a lot. Because, okay, so here's the difference between a punishment. Punishment, spanking, flogging, clover clamps on the nipples,
Yes.
So recently I've gotten into vacuum play on nipples and things like that. So that's fun. We should talk about that at some point. It's not that bad. Don't give him that look. It's not that bad. It could actually be very enjoyable.
Okay, I'm willing to try anything. We just did wax play. It was amazing.
So, but yeah, those are the punishments. Here's a punishment. Look in the mirror and tell me something you like about yourself.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Well,
That's a punishment.
he gets creative too. So for sure.
I didn't mean that directly at
No,
you.
I get what you're saying. Where it's hard, and what you got to be is like, get your ass naked and tell me something about your body that you really like. And I get how that would be a punishment for women, because we
for
spend
anybody.
we spend
be honest.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, it would be tough for me to look in a mirror and tell you what I like about myself. Mm-hmm. So
Exactly.
yeah, that would be a punishment to anybody.
I will say it's easy now because I like my boobs. I have seen a lot of boobs. I have seen so many breasts at the club. I am quite happy with my size. I wish they were standing up a little bit more, but the size and the dimensions of my boobs make me happy. See, I got something.
There you go.
All right. So, have you been, you were in a relationship. Have you been in a 24/7? Are you in a 24/7?
No, I'm not in a 24/7.
Okay.
I don't
Is
know.
it something you would like?
I'm open to it. But with the constraints that life has right now, it may or may not be a good fit.
Well, let's just back up a second. So you say you're not in a 24/7. What if A forgets a good morning text or a good morning call?
Oh, we have that conversation.
So in a sense, you have tasks every day that must be done. So you may not do scenes or get heavily involved in the DS relationship.
But that
But-
alone is a
but
24/7
that alone-
dynamic. If I have to say good morning and good night, then you're giving me tasks that create a 24/7
Right.
dynamic.
That's true.
You know, because that has brought up a lot of discussion. Me and Lady D, I mean, we say we're in a 24/7, but every day doesn't involve a scene or me dishing out certain tasks or anything like that. She has the morning note
And the collar.
and the collar daily,
Well,
you know, and if,
I put a collar in. So there are people, and I don't know if you're the type of person that this is your one collar and this is, and it's my collar because I'm putting it on you, and you're my collared person. Well, I have a lot of collars.
Yeah.
Master Nick has allowed me to have a lot of collars because I like variety. I mean, I'm always changing things up. So I have lots of collars. I have stuck one in my bag because I'm like, every so often I will get up. I'm so tired. I'm not paying attention. I get up at 4:30 in the morning. I get up every day, 4:30 in the morning. I am out of the house by 6 a.m. after making, that's the other thing. I make his food,
yeah, she
his
packs-
lunch,
packs
pack
my
his lunch, write a letter for it so that when he gets at work, he reads his letter. So I do that. I get my son up. I get him ready. I get him to the bus. All that. And I'm out of the house every day by 6 o'clock. So sometimes I'm like, oh my God, I'm so tired. I don't know. So I put a collar in my bag so that I never fail on that one. And then if I happen to pull it off like I did this week and wear it, as soon as it comes off, it goes back in my bag so that I will never be without a collar because I'm not comfortable with that.
Right.
Well, when I said I formally collared her, it's not a around the neck collar. A collar is an open term.
Right.
Right.
Good.
So her collar is a bracelet.
Yay.
Yep.
Okay.
This is mine.
And she wears it every day. She doesn't take it off. If it needs to
Fine.
come off, I take it off and then I put it back on. Because we had to make a modification to it, a physical modification to it to make it fit better.
Uh-huh.
So I took it off, fixed it, and put it back on.
Right.
Okay. Aw.
And, as things develop with us, we've not gotten to that level yet.
Right.
Right.
Because you're developing.
Right.
By the time this airs, you may have already surpassed developing.
It remains to be seen, but me and S are moving in a direction that we're both comfortable with.
Right.
Yay.
And like I said, I'd known her for a number of years prior to her and I engaging in a romantic or DS type relationship.
Do you have vanilla sex? Does it ever get to the point where it would be? Because we have sex that doesn't involve a ton of kink, but he does dominant stuff in it anyways because it's what gets me off. So do you have vanilla sex with your partners?
Good old missionary.
Hey, I'm
not
going to say this for everyone. In my life, I was like, missionary. Missionary's boring. I don't want
No,
missionary.
it's not.
Missionary is my favorite
Well,
damn
it's- and
position
it's
with
not
him.
only that, but I've got more access to do dominating acts.
Mm-hmm.
If we're doing it doggy style, she can only feel it.
Yeah.
If I grab her hair, if I grab around her neck, by being face to face, I can do, she's able to see all the different types.
And he lifts himself and puts himself in a very dominating position, like, you know,
Yeah.
using his arms to hold me a certain way or whatever.
Well, what is vanilla sex? I mean,
Vanilla sex to me is like, I have had great partners that were good in bed, but it was literally just basic sex. There was no pulling my hair, biting my neck, licking me, no
Nothing rough.
nothing,
It's-
and it's not heavily rough, not, but there was none of it. He will force, for us, the fact that I have to ask to come, that is always a part of our routine. It does not matter if we're just having sex in our bedroom. I have to ask to come. So right there, we've added a dominant thing. I mean, you'll hear in the club, if we're playing, I'm screaming out, "Can I come, Master Nick?"
yep, I've heard it.
most everybody has.
At this point, everybody has.
Yeah,
Everybody
so
who listens to our
When,
podcast.
when I think
Please,
of when I think
please sing me the song of your people.
when I think of vanilla sex, I think missionary.
Mm-hmm.
But I see the guy just kind of
yeah.
doing what he
Waiting
needs to
on the
do
bus.
to get off.
Yeah.
I see the woman just kind of laying there, not really moving, not really making any sounds, trying
that's
to
good.
get off before the man does.
This is good.
Yeah, that.
I saw a scene in the
know,
fishbowl room that was probably the vanillast of vanilla sex because everybody looked like they were waiting for a bus.
Right. Right.
I'm serious. Yeah. I mean,
To most people, vanilla outside of the lifestyle, they're what we call vanilla.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean they're having vanilla sex. They may be talking dirty or, that kind of stuff to amp it up a little bit. And that's kind of what we're trying to get the word out,
I
that
don't-
there is so much that you can do to be part of the kink world and to be part of the BDSM world that you may already be doing something.
so vanilla, quote unquote, vanilla is boring sex.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's the difference between loving what you're doing with the person you're doing it with and being passionate about it.
Right.
And, injecting yourself, being present,
Right.
having a connection.
Yes.
You take two people that have a connection in anything that they do, you two, me and A, me and S, Zora and Dante. You put them in a situation, okay? And that connection, that passion, that energy, which has to be cultivated and worked on a little bit every single day.
Yes.
You take that and you put those two people in a room. This happens to both me and to both of my partners and I. You put us in a room long enough, something gonna happen.
Right.
Okay? Right. Something gonna happen. And usually we wind up cuddling afterwards and have a desire to drink some water because we're both dehydrated. But no, it's all about the passion.
Right.
It's all about the connection and fueling the connection. So no, I don't have vanilla sex.
And I think BDSM helps you to do that with tools that you don't normally have, right? So that connection, because we're doing scenes that could be dangerous or that could be cause mental, the subspace and the mental stuff, I think that we have to communicate more
Oh, yes.
than a normal relationship. They go, they
Right.
have sex, they get it over, they're done. And not everybody has sex like this. I get it. You guys have great sex. I'm not saying that this is everybody, but for a BDSM relationship, we're communicating so much.
It's never vanilla.
And we have a connection in a way that when we have sex, I mean, we're 5 years into this. Our sex is, we sat there one night, it wasn't too long ago, that afterwards I laid down panting. And maybe it doesn't last, 5 hours, but I was
No.
laying there panting. I looked at him and I went, why does it feel as good now as it did in the beginning? Like, how
And
did this
it's-
happen?
Right.
Yep.
And a lot of it is getting to know each other more,
Yep.
communicating, which is huge,
Yes.
and understanding, having people that care. Obviously, I care about you.
Yes.
So therefore, I pay attention to the things you say that you like. I pay attention to how your body reacts. And therefore, I take all of that and I build upon it. If I honestly did not care about you and we was in a meaningless, vanilla marriage, I wouldn't give a shit what you like.
If we were bored and
I would
boring.
be having sex for me to get off.
And
To
then-
hell with you. And that's where, there is a lot of marriages out there. There's a lot of couples out there that's it. You know, but again, if you love your partner and if you care about your partner, you're going to find ways to make it better each and every time.
So that's a thing. And that connection, what we're talking about, I think, is what I like call connection, the connection that I have to my partners. Okay. I've done the hi, how are you? Let's go bone kind of sex.
Right.
And afterwards, I'm just so bored. I'm just like, it doesn't fuel me.
Right. Right.
Okay.
It's not fulfilling.
It's a physical act, but it doesn't add to me.
Right.
Right. That's good.
So whenever I have sex with either of my partners, I feel like something is added to me, and I feel like I've added something to them. That experience that we just shared,
Right. It's meaningful to you and it's meaningful to them.
Correct.
Yep.
And then we bring that to the DS activities.
Yes.
The BDSM activities. We bring that connection and that addition, to
Right.
things.
When we did the wax play with Christina and Loki, it was afterwards, she said, I was riding a high all day and all the next day, basically. I just felt this with him, this high from it. So,
because you build yourself, you expand yourself in those moments,
right.
and you expand the connection that you have with your partner.
I feel that what we do is we solidify it. So during the scenes, if we're doing various scenes, then it strengthens that connection. And what happens is if I don't get my submissive taken care of for, say, a month, we just, we went a month without anything. I start losing that connection.
Yeah.
In a way that because I am a natural submissive and I need it, sexually submissive, I need that giving up of control. And if I don't have it, we start losing our connection.
Yeah.
And the minute we have dominant sex or a scene or he takes care of my submissive in an aggressive, dominant manner, my world rights itself again and our connection reconnects. I don't know if that,
No, it makes sense.
and it can be lost if it's not.
Yep.
It's just like you were saying that people need to work on it. You need to work on the relationship. That is part of our work in our relationship.
All right, Bear. If there is one thing you could tell people exploring BDSM, what would it be?
If you and your partners are doing it in a way that is fulfilling for both of you. If you're in a couple, if you're doing it in a way that is good for your relationship, fulfilling for both of you, brings you closer together, there's no wrong way to do it.
Yeah.
Okay. If you feel respected and honored and loved, and it's clicking all those boxes, you're not doing it wrong.
Right.
Don't let anybody say there's only one way to do it, and that's my way.
Yeah.
And the people who say things like that are full of horse shit.
Yep. Absolutely.
The wrong way is destructive. The wrong way doesn't take people's personhood into account. The wrong way ignores boundaries. The wrong way, I don't mean to be a gatekeeper about any of this. I'm no gatekeeper. But the wrong way hurts people.
Well,
It harms people.
the boundaries, the fact that you said that, because one of the things when all the submissives were together, one of the things we touched upon was kind of the same thing. Like somebody starting in, what would you say? How do you keep yourself safe? What do you do? How do you start a relationship? Well, if somebody does not listen to your boundaries,
Red flag.
get out. Get
Yep.
out right now.
Exactly.
And that's one of the core things is you respect your partner and their boundaries.
Right.
Well, DOMs have boundaries. Everybody has boundaries.
I've got no fly zones.
Okay. And I get that. Which is one of the reasons, going back to the respectful part, I want to make sure that I observe people's boundaries. That is a way that I demonstrate respect for you. And some of those you learn from observation, some of them you learn outright by asking, but you gotta pay attention to that kind of thing, man.
Right.
So you've been sitting in the background watching, obviously, because I noticed that's one of the things that I've noticed about you is that you're always kind of watching the situation around you. Same thing. You're finding people out by using
you're
your
observing their actions and the way that they present themselves.
Exactly. And 9 times out of 10, if I look at you and I don't like what I see, I'm not going to interact with you.
Right.
There are people who don't have the kind of emotional or mental control in a given situation, or I see them acting toward people that is in a careless or abusive manner. I'm just like, you're not worth my time.
Right.
Right. We make decisions like that too. Yep. I mean, you have to.
Oh, yeah.
Because in order to keep safety, your partners, your relationships, and who you are, I want to be with people that are like-minded, not people that are not at the same level as us.
Right.
So one time at the club, she works there now, but at the time she was just a club member, introduced us to another person who claimed they had been through a dominance school. I see the look on your face.
Yay.
I see the look on your face.
I want to know all about that.
So
I may even need to enroll in this.
But this was I held it inside. It was very an internal reaction. And my sub A was wearing the play collar that I made for her. So this particular individual reaches out and grabs the collar and pulls A toward them. And I looked at this person and I said, if you had been through a school,
that's
you
101.
know better.
That is 101.
You know better than to reach out and touch somebody else's property without asking first.
Oh, gosh,
and they drew their hand back so quick that you thought that lightning struck them.
Right.
But that,
I mean, that's wrong in so many ways in the DS license. Not only is it somebody's property, right? And not only was it, somebody else's property as far as the collar, but again, there's doms that have rules that if you play with my submissive,
Do not touch
do
that
not
collar.
touch my collar. You know, that is my collar.
And our play
her.
collars, so while I have a billion collars that I get to wear, whenever where I'm out, when we play,
There's
one, and it's our collar.
Yep.
He
No
puts
touching.
it on. There is definitely it's a formal act when
Yes.
he puts it on. That is when we're going to be doing a scene, and he is now completely in control, and I'm not bopping all over the place doing my little butterfly get to know people thing. This is it.
No,
You're
it's
mine. The
time.
focus is on this.
But yeah, so,
So that would be.
I want to find this school. I would like to attend.
Maybe
Yeah.
you would like to teach. Maybe that would be a better way to do it.
I was just thinking when they said, "Oh, I've been through dominant school," I was just like,
Yeah.
So, how much did that cost?
Yeah.
Maybe you should ask for your money back.
Yeah, give me a refund.
That's crazy.
All right.
So I'm going to back it up a little bit because I have one more question. We know the tickle scene, but I want to know one scene that you did that's your favorite, like a scene that you did that really highlights. I know it's different with different people, but what highlights who you are? The scene
One that just sticks out in mind that you replay over in your head, if there is one.
God, I can't give you just one. There's going to have to be two.
Okay, then let's do two.
Okay.
tie them up together.
There you
So
go.
with okay, we had the very first impact scene me and her did.
Really?
Okay. The very first impact scene.
Okay.
She and I were building. And this was the first impact scene she had run with anybody in years. Years. Okay. And very bad experience previous to this. And I told her going into this scene, I said, look, I need for you to tell me yellow and red. And I'm going to be proud of you when you do it. Very first scene we had, I told her we're not going to, if your pain tolerance goes from 1 to 10, we're not going to go above a 5 or a 6. We're going to take this methodically. We're going to learn each other. We're going to do this the right way. So we're into the scene, and we're working on this together. And very quietly, very gently, I hear her go, yellow. And I stopped what I was doing,
Right.
and I put the toy down. And I made her look at me, and I told her that I was proud of her for that.
Right.
Yeah.
And she broke down.
Aw.
She started crying.
Because again, you've got all this past stuff that you're dealing with, and the fact that she was open, because subs don't like yellow for us is a very common thing. Like, but subs really, we want you to get your dom on, and we have a tendency to bite our tongue and take more because maybe it'll get better. You know, maybe we'll get there. So that's awesome.
And I remember that.
After her breakdown, did she end up after that? Did you guys end it for the night, or did you continue doing something?
We played a little bit more, and then we had some really good sex.
Yeah.
Some really good sex. That was really good.
Okay, your second favorite scene.
This was with S.
Yep. I figure I guessed it.
Yep.
You couldn't do just one. Nope.
Couldn't do-
I
nope,
completely understand.
So there was the very first impact scene me and her had. And I learned an entirely new arena of how hard to push.
Okay.
And it opened my mind up, and it made me grow.
Right.
And it took everything that I knew and pushed me in a direction that's made me expand and become a better dominant.
Okay. So she required different.
She's more of a masochist than A.
Got it.
So she needs me to get in there and use things that are more stingy or,
Right.
more that hurt more.
Right. Yeah.
She needs that. That is a requirement for her.
So
And
therefore, you have to step your game up.
I
even
have
more.
to. I have to.
Yes.
And it's made me learn more about myself. It's made me move into other types of floggers and impact toys. It's made me really open up my toolbox and what I'm willing to play with and the types of toys I like to use. It's also opened my mind up as far as my crafting goes, because now I'm thinking to myself, okay, how do I make the toy that I used on S in my style?
Right.
How do I make that work?
That's got to be huge. Is one of the things is because you craft, your brain, anytime you use anything, must be thinking about how do I make this mine.
Right.
So that's a big deal.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right, so then
I'm gonna move on to probably our very last question for this interview.
$3.50.
Sold.
$3.50.
$3.50. Smart ass. All right. Do you have anything you would like to add for our listeners who are sitting wherever they're sitting and listening and enjoying this podcast? Do you have anything that you would like to add that we haven't already covered or needs to be covered?
Leave yourself open to possibilities.
Okay.
Have an open mind.
Yes.
The way I love my partners is valid. It may not resemble the way that you love your partner or partners,
Correct.
but it's valid. And this is the way I wanted my life to go. The feelings, the mechanics of it may not have been something that I foresaw, but the connections that I've built and the people in my life are fantastic. This is the part of my life that I always wanted to have. This is the kind of life in terms of fulfillment that I always wanted to have. And I feel blessed. I feel blessed every day to be living the life that I'm living.
Right.
Because I almost didn't have a life.
and that's huge. That's huge.
And I walked away from that experience thinking, well, this is the only life I've got. You know,
Time to live it.
It's time to get down to the get busy living and get busy dying, as the quote goes.
Right.
So I'm living, and I'm going to enjoy this life, and I'm going to eat it up.
We can relate. We've said that numerous times. This is the life that we wanted.
Yeah.
This is the life we needed.
Yep.
So excellent. Bear, man,
I know. It
This
was
has been-
amazing.
We went all over the place, didn't we?
No, we covered it all.
we covered
and
everything, and it
we
has
got to
been
know you in a
great.
way that, like, really, truly, we didn't expect.
Yeah.
Like, we get people on here and we don't know, but today we had to know you, in ways that, gosh, I just want to sit and pick at your brain
so
now.
there will
I'm
definitely be more.
complex.
There will definitely be more interviews on this for sure, because you've got, again, and I've said it on a few people, but the way your mind works. So, mind control for me is something that I want to learn more of. So doing
He
these
needs
interviews,
to learn more of those because he's not real comfortable. Well, he's comfortable in spanking. Let's go there. He's comfortable in flogging. But when it comes to punishments, like constant, like the control bit, and if you're doing mind control in BDSM scenes, it develops and builds you in other ways where your maybe punishments are different. And it's like he needs that.
I want to learn more of the mind control and sitting here, getting to talk to you, getting to know more about you outside of Club Tempted. Love it. For our listeners, the Bears Den gifts on Etsy. They can go there. They can find your wonderful, amazing leather floggers and other implements that you make. Make sure and check them out. Give them a look. Give them a follow on social media. And thank you again for being here, for coming here, and for doing this.
It's been a pleasure. I love being able to talk about this part of my life. I love being able to talk about what I craft. So this has just been a lot of fun. And like I said from the jump, I was looking to have a fun conversation, and I had one.
Right.
So,
Yay.
hey, you know, this
has
is
been
an
great.
experience I'm enjoying.
All right. Thank you again.
All right.
Coming up next week, we are going to recap all of our interviews that we have and close out our series of dominant submissive lifestyle, deeper dive into domination.
I think it'll be a wonderful episode because we're going to give insights into why we did it, and it lasted many months.
It did. Stick around. Stay tuned.
Please follow, like, and share our podcast.
Make sure to visit thedomlife.com where you can find pictures and other details about the Dom Life podcast. And through the Contact Us button, you can ask questions or provide recommendations for future episodes.
We want to explore your kink too.
Be sure to check out upcoming events to see where our adventures are taking us and our photo gallery to where we've been.
Thank you for joining us on this journey. We hope you had fun listening and learning with us.
Till next time, keep calm and remember your safe word.
Red, red, red.